Just let it fly. Hi, this is Mark from Real Roofers. I'm here with Benoy ThanJian. He's an expert in solar, and I'll let him tell you his background, where he's worked, and so forth.
Thanks, Mark, for the introduction. My name is Benoy ThanJian. My company is Renew Energy. We're a renewable energy consulting firm that focuses on solar. My background before is working at Solar City, which is one of the biggest solar developers in the United States, and another regional-based solar company, and also a private investment firm that invests in renewables. Roofers should definitely learn about solar. It's one of the biggest opportunities with providing roofing solutions and solar. The cost of solar has gone down 400% in the past 5 years, and it'll continue to go down, with also the efficiencies of the panels increasing. So eventually, and I would say 5 to 10 years, it'll be cheaper than fossil fuels or what people are currently being charged for electricity. So definitely you should look at the opportunity. If you want to learn more, please contact me. My number is 917-692-7710, and my email is benoy@renewenergy.com, RENEU energy.com, and it's Benoy, B-E-N-O-Y. Thank you.
Okay, Benoy, now we have some hard questions for you. So myself as a roofer, as you know, we know each other for 2 years. I'm not convinced 100% that solar is as great a solution as we're hearing, mainly because I see too many free offerings. When I see free, I get nervous. Tell me why you believe solar is, as you just told me 5 minutes ago, the next big thing.
Sure. Well, there's nothing free, obviously. When they say zero down, you're really committing to a 20-year contract where you're basically paying for that solar over a 20-year period. So it's almost like a lease or interest payment that you're making. So it's definitely not free. It's just that it should be cheaper than what you currently pay for electricity. I would say the best solution is actually to own the system outright. But you're right, there's nothing for free. You're paying a very high cost of capital to get zero money down.
Okay, so let's think about a real house. So a roofer goes to roof a house. Let's say it's a 2,500 square foot roof, and we're going to put panels up. Let's say 12 panels. So it's a small system. How can the roofer actually access the panels and install the brackets and help the homeowner without going to a finance company?
Sure. So, obviously if the homeowner wants to basically buy the system outright with cash, they could do that. They also could finance it from a home equity loan. As far as not going through a financing company, as long as you buy the equipment and the homeowner is able to buy the system outright, then you wouldn't have to go through a sort of third-party financing company, and the roofer could handle the transaction by themselves.
Right. Now let's talk about SRECs. SRECs are traded. I'll let you explain.
Sure. So SRECs are basically a tradable commodity where the government requires, state-level governments require energy companies to have a certain amount of their energy in renewable resources. Part of it is solar, and they basically buy it from homeowners, project developers who have solar, and then it's basically a tradable commodity that the government has created.
Right. So any market is fluctuating with prices. So in New Jersey, we saw SRECs go up to $600 and then down to $130, and now we're back up to, I think you said $230.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so there's been a lot of fluctuation. So is that to deter the homeowner or company from actually getting involved with, handling the SRECs themselves? And, again, curious, is the finance companies, what's their exposure with SRECs?
So there's a lot of different points to this question. So if the homeowner is actually going to own the system, the payback should actually be between 3 to 6 years, because not of the state level incentive, but because the investment tax credit that you have of 30%, which basically is a 30% credit that you have on the cost of the system, and then depreciation benefits. So the SREC values can be low, and it still would pay back within 3 to 6 years. It's definitely challenging to sell SRECs if you produce a small quantity. That's why there's aggregation, or people who pool SRECs to sell it. So SREC fluctuations, if you own the system's not as big of an issue, because within 3 to 5 years you'll pay back yourself. If you have a third-party finance through a PPA transaction, then the financier is taking the SREC risk.
All right, so let's talk about that. What is a
Sure.
PPA transaction?
Sure, so PPA is a power purchase agreement, and basically how it works is a 20-year contract that you agree to pay power at a certain price. So let's say you're currently paying 11 cents for electricity. The solar company that says 0 down, but they'll say you have to pay the electricity for 9 cents over a 20-year period with a certain sort of inflation factor. So that's basically what a PPA transaction is. It's a contractual commitment to buy energy from the solar that's produced.
So when you go into a PPA, do you give up your rights to an SREC, to the SRECs?
Yes, you do. Basically, the financier takes all the sort of benefits that you get federal and state level.
Okay, so I get 2 cents discount on my electricity. I went from 11 to 9 cents, but I don't get my SRECs
Yes.
for creating clean energy. And I'm thinking that the solar is producing more energy than just 2 cents. So the PPA company is also getting the benefit of, whatever savings beyond 2 cents?
Yeah, definitely. They feel like they're taking that risk, over the 20-year period.
So really, how much would, if you had the solar system, how much money would you actually be saving? You mentioned 3 to 6
Sure.
years. Let's say your bill is normally $150 at 11 cents.
Yeah.
What are you actually saving if you didn't use a finance company?
So it would probably be, I would say, around 30 to 40%. So if you're basically saying $150, then your bill would be, let's think, like maybe you would say $50, $60 a month.
Right.
So it would be like $100 or $90 versus maybe 10 to 15% that you would save going through a PPA transaction.
Right. So the SRECs you don't own, and the PPA company is making some of the savings of the energy.
Oh yeah, they're keeping some of the savings that will come. Obviously, you don't know what SRECs are going to be in the future, so they're taking that risk.
Okay.
Also maintaining the system over the 20-year.
Great. So what should roofers do?
I think roofers should obviously look into solar as a viable option to offer to their existing clients, especially when you're upgrading and putting new roofs. Basically educating them and seeing if they have any interest. Partner with, solar panel manufacturers, racking companies, to put the equipment, some sort of engineering work that needs to be done, work with another sort of solar contractor to do that.
Right. So today is March 3rd, 2015. What are the watts that come out of a good panel from China? And what does a panel cost?
Sure. So a panel cost depends what type of panel that you're buying, but probably around 70 to 85 cents per watt, depending on the type of panel and the wattage. I think the
So what does one panel cost?
One panel would cost, maybe it would cost like a few thousand, like 1,000 to 3,000, depending on what type of module it is brand.
$1,000 for one panel?
Yeah. If we're buying like a high-end
high-end
panel with a certain wattage. I mean, for like the technical aspects of the panels, I'm probably not the best person to ask as
Okay.
far as...
That's right. Well, the roofers will write in and tell you.
Yes.
All right, so $1,000 panel is how many watts?
I actually have to check that online. I wouldn't actually know what the exact wattage.
Wait a second. Are you an expert?
I am an expert specifically on the...
All right, so people can write to you and you'll get back to them
I could get back to
with
them.
the exact information.
Yes, I'm not an engineer or a technical person by trade. I'm more of a...
Okay, so, real quickly, because we're up about 10 minutes now, what do you think the industry is going to do. You know, how do roofing contractors fit in? How do solar contractors fit in? How does Wall Street fit in? How does the PPA companies fit in? And what's the future for solar, in your opinion?
I mean, there's so many parts to this question that it'll be hard to answer it succinctly, like, or briefly. You know, basically everyone's, I think, part of that equation. Obviously, roofers have the relationship with the building owner or the homeowner, which is huge, and you know, they obviously have the expertise to build new roofs or upgrade the roofs, which is extremely important for solar, because solar is a long-lived asset that's going to be there for 20 to 30 years. Financing and PPA companies or Wall Street companies are kind of the same. You really have your big banks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, who are investing into these companies that provide PPAs. And then basically, you know, it's a partnership. You know, the roofers need financing of PPA companies to get customers interested. If they don't want to buy the system themselves, the roofers need also the solar companies to obviously, you know, buy the raw materials, or not raw materials, but, you know, panels, racking, and that stuff, and then also the engineering capabilities as well. So it's all a big partnership that needs to happen. Kind of what I said before is that the cost of solar is going to be cheaper than fossil fuels without incentives within 5 to 10 years. It's kind of like Moore's law, where the cost will continue to keep going down and the efficiencies will keep increasing. So, you know, eventually there's going to be a certain point where solar is cheaper than any other fuel source out there.
Okay, last question.
Sure.
One panel on a roof, if it costs $1,000, how long will it take to pay itself back? Let's add a little for labor. Let's say another $300 for labor,
Sure.
$1,300. Then the electrician comes in, you know, whatever. Let's say $1,300. How long is it going to take for that panel to pay for itself in the installation? Just that panel.
Well, it depends, like, what state it's happening in, because you have higher cost of electricity in, like, say, Hawaii and California and Arizona, and you have high solar radiance, so you get a lot of sun, versus other states like New Jersey, Massachusetts. Also, the government state level incentives are different in each state, so it's hard for me to...
So are you saying that the government will determine what the future of solar is?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying right now it's right now there's a lot of incentives for solar, but in the future, as I said before, there's not going to be necessary incentives for solar. It's going to be a lot cheaper.
Okay. Well, that's been very informative. Anything else you'd like to say?
Just, it's something obviously that all roofers should be looking into, and if they have any questions, you know, feel free to contact me. My email is benoy@reneweenergy.com, BENOY@RENEUenergy.com.
Great. Well, this is Mark for Real Roofers. You can always contact me at 732-995-3914, and I hope we brought you the best person in the industry to explain the confusion in solar. Thank you.
You don't have to hope.